Join us on a journey into the world of exceptional teas. Guided by expert tea tasters, you will discover the amazing world of fine teas from Darjeeling in the Himalayas to the hills of Yunnan, China to Hong Kong and Shizuoka, Japan. We are in India, in the foothills of the Himalayas, in the valleys surrounding Darjeeling. The plantations around Pu-erh Tea Factory gradually emerge from the mist. François-Xavier Delmar is French. He has been traveling the world for the past 20 years, sourcing fine teas for his company, Le Palais des Thés.
Hello, Mr. Singh.
Hi.
How are you?
Welcome.
He is greeted by Dinesh Singh, the tea estate's manager.
One sec, please.
François-Xavier Delmar planned his trip to coincide with the spring tea harvest, the most important of the year, when the buds are at their most aromatic. He immediately asks the estate manager about the quality because he knows the weather plays an important role during the harvest, and it has rained a lot in Darjeeling these past few days.
In terms of quality,
More or
what do you
less,
think?
no, last year quality was slightly better because last year the condition was not that droughty. This year, first plus, we didn't get good leaf.
Here, in Darjeeling, there are 80 plantations, like so many fine teas. Each plot produces different tasting tea. Some 700 tea pickers work full-time on this plantation. For teas of this quality, they only pick the plant's tips, the finest and newest leaves. Everyone lives from tea here. The estate provides basic accommodation for its employees and a school for their children in a nearby village. Most of the villagers are from neighboring Nepal. Only the women pick tea. The men either supervise or work in the factory. The pluckers' clothing not only protects them from the sun, but also from scratches. Once plucked, the tea is then processed. The first stage, known as withering, involves removing 60 to 70% of the leaves' water content. These rooms are already filled with a magical aroma. Rolling is another important stage. Here, this is done on old but well-maintained machines. This involves breaking down the structures of the leaf cells to release the enzymes they contain and to facilitate the tea's subsequent oxidation. Oxidation is highly important when it comes to a tea's quality. The tea is then sorted by hand. All residue and oversized leaves are removed to obtain a homogeneous product. This tea will be sent to the wholesaler in Calcutta, who is responsible for selling the harvest on the international market. But before discussing prices, it's important to taste the different flushes, the quality of which depends on the weather.
The complicated thing here is that when a tea is produced, the whole lot is sold to the same person. You can't say you want such or such an amount. You take all or nothing. And the tea I'm interested in, Mr. Singh is only going to produce 30 different batches, which is very few given the number of buyers there are in the world.
All the samples are infused at the same temperature for the same amount of time. That's to say, for 3.5 minutes at 85 degrees. Like wine tasters, tea tasters slurp the tea, then immediately spit it out.
You have to slurp the tea because you need to have oxygen at the same time and swill the liquid around.
But from unpruned section.
The tasting continues, but François Xavier finds it hard to conceal his disappointment.
Full mouth.
You like it?
But it's difficult to sell in France.
Why?
They prefer something more light.
More light.
Yeah, lighter than that.
Okay. Now this is your again.
This is a diplomatic way for François Xavier to tell Mr. Singh he isn't going to buy anything from him this year.
I don't know how many years ago it was, maybe 10 years ago.
He also likes to visit the plantations because they can teach him a lot.
Simbuli is an excellent plantation too, and Timling is the best part of Simbuli. It produces teas I really like.
François Xavier has learnt Hindi in order to be able to chat to the workers.
Here you can see for yourself that no weed killers are used. The workers are asked to pick or cut all the undesirable weeds. Actually, if you listen very carefully, you can hear all sorts of insects, which is usually a sign that very few products or insecticides are used. But anyway, in Darjeeling, although it has taken some time, everyone is either organic now or taking the necessary steps to become organic. When I'm on a tea plantation, I like to take pictures of the people. And then when I come back, 1, 2, 3 years later, I try to give them their pictures.
It takes 2 hours by road to reach one of the most renowned tea estates, Pu-erh Tea Estate. François Xavier greets the manager, J.D. Rai, with a smile. They've known each other 20 years. It is still very wet, but here too, picking continues. Pu-erh Tea Estate recently earned the Rainforest Alliance certification. It is one of the most difficult to obtain in the world because it is not only based on the organic quality of the tea, but also on a whole series of environmental and social criteria.
They have to produce organically grown teas in Darjeeling for the simple reason that the Germans buy about 50% of all tea produced here. And for the past 30 or so years, they've been saying that if the tea is not organically grown, they will not buy it.
Amazing tea, no? Full of tips.
It's beautiful, amazing.
You can see this is a remarkable crop, that it's a very exclusive tea. There are plenty of buds, or tips too, so it's really an exceptional crop. You can't buy it though without tasting it, or you could have a nasty surprise. These are very, very high quality teas, the very best you can find in Darjeeling.
It's a beautiful tea, flavor of his own. Oh no, that is...
I prefer this.
That is much.
That's my point.
François Xavier Delmar can't hide his delight. Against all expectations, he has just found the exceptional batch he was looking for. Now for the hard part. It's time to talk prices. And negotiating is going to be all the harder because his supplier knows he's interested.
Why do you spoil it by so Japanese buyer is coming. 2 groups are coming. So we are just calculating कि उसको कितना मिलेगा अच्छा है कि नहीं. This is in a year.
Okay.
Bien sûr, pour faire monter les
Of course, to get a better price, he's told me that the Japanese are after it too, and they're coming back in 2 days' time. Maybe it's true, maybe it isn't. If he told me, for instance, the English were after it, there is no way I'd have believed him. The English are absolutely incapable of appreciating this sort of tea for purely cultural reasons. It simply isn't the type of tea they usually drink, whereas the Japanese, like the French, are fond of very delicate and very subtle sensations and flavors, and they know how to detect these things.
As good batches are very scarce this year, he's in a fix. He can't haggle anymore.
Do you have any?
He's going to try humor.
How do you say discount in Hindi?
There is no word as discount.
There is one. I know there is one. What is it?
There is no discount in Hindi. Sochiye, I don't. If you feel it is on the high.
Francois Xavier steals the batch from under the Japanese noses.
Perfect.
Thurbo is a very fine tea, well-exposed, undulating fields, and a Nepalese manager, J.D. Rai, one of the finest connoisseurs in the industry, who manages almost 5,000 employees across several plantations and is extremely demanding when it comes to quality.
$1,000.
Francois Xavier is regularly invited for lunch at J.D. Rai's house. It's a sign there is more to the relationship between these two men than purely business matters. His wife has prepared an exquisite lunch with vegetables from her garden.
In Calcutta, you go there sometimes, or you have no?
Darjeeling is a victim of its own success. People come here from all over India to enjoy the cool air of the hills and drink tea. But there has been no investment here. The increasingly cramped town is piled onto the hillside in a totally chaotic fashion.
The British made up this myth. 200 years ago, there was nothing here except for a dozen or so huts. After stealing tea seeds in China, the British planted tea in Darjeeling and brought people here, mainly from Nepal.
Francois Xavier has just arrived at Pu-erh, another famous producer of fine Darjeeling. The plantations are on the border with the kingdom of Sikkim on the other side of the river. He greets one of his loyal suppliers, Gopal Somani. The two men are good friends.
Be back in again. In
Oh
Pattabong.
yes, it's my pleasure to welcome.
It's time to taste the different batches harvested, the famous second flush. Despite the inclement weather, Francois Xavier is confident this estate is prestigious.
You don't get better than this. Pu-erh is truly excellent. It's the equivalent of one of the finest French wines.
Even so, in the world of tea, nothing is ever certain. From one hillside of tea plants, from one valley to the next, everything can change. Like a vineyard that is more or less well exposed.
Already with wine, we know very well in France how complicated it is. But it's even more true of tea because it's picked every day. So it's a never-ending job where the climate has a huge influence. For instance, after a heavy downpour, the leaves grow much more quickly and will contain far less essential oil, so you'll get very different results. So there is a difference in quality on a prestigious estate such as this, which is massive.
The atmosphere is a bit tense. Breathing in the smell of the newly infused tea leaves, tasting again, Francois Xavier is uneasy. He's thinking about how he's going to deliver his verdict. He doesn't want to hurt his friend, but the weather hasn't been kind to this crop.
You tell me. Tell me. You tell me.
La dégustation ce matin, elle est un peu.
This morning's tasting was a bit surprising because here I usually find what are known as colonial queens. They're really very exclusive and excellent quality. And to be honest, I really didn't like it at all. They don't develop the aroma they should develop. They were hit badly by the drought, and he himself admits that isn't as good as what he produced last year.
Gopal Samani is another of the fine tea world's big personalities.
94? Really, no, before that. Why I say it is more of an art? Like, you give same recipe to 3 different chefs, same ingredient, and then ask them to prepare the same dish. But if you taste, the taste will be different, all the 3.
Gopal Samani is taking François Xavier to another plot they both know well.
Looks just very nice.
It is called Del Mar.
It is a recognition of our friendship and his contribution towards Darjeeling and jazz tea.
Ça fait 20 ans qu'on
We've known each other for 20 years. Since then, I've been coming back once, twice, 3 times a year and buying a lot of tea from him. Perhaps not always from this plot because it's young. Things have to improve. Just because it's named after me doesn't mean I'm going to buy everything it produces. It needs a bit of time. But I'm really touched to know that I have 6 hectares in Darjeeling. It's marvelous.
Time to head to Tokyo, Japan, to discover sencha, a green tea some types of which are of exceptional quality. Japan is very attached to its customs and values, but its increasingly westernized lifestyle has meant it has lost some of its traditions associated, among other things, with tea. The Japanese still drink a lot of green tea every day, but they have become less demanding about its quality. In the best cases, they stock up in the basements of department stores with teas whose brewed leaves they reuse several times in a day. But the most popular item on today's market is this bottled green tea, often with added flavoring or sugar. Sales are booming. These bottles are adapted to the new eating habits of Japanese youth, with whom coffee is increasingly popular. A resident of Tokyo for the past 10 years, Florent Verg is French, and he has pulled off the feat of obtaining the title of tea sommelier here, a written and oral exam that he took in Japanese. Now a tea taster in the land of the rising sun, Florent Verg works for several reputable tea stores in Tokyo and sells his fine teas on the internet to a demanding clientele.
The image most Westerners have of Japanese tea is, of course, sencha. That's to say, a heavily roasted sencha, or this medium roasted tea, which comes from the Shizuoka mountains. But in Japan, you also have what's known as kamaicha. People are also producing pretty good black teas here and semi-oxidized teas such as Saumlong from Saitama.
As with types of grapes for great wines, there are countless varieties of tea and, at each harvest, the opinion of tea experts is eagerly awaited. Florent Verg writes a blog on the subject, and his reviews are regarded as the gospel. One of his readers, academic Valérie Dugnot, is a great expert on Japan and the author of a reference book on green tea.
He obtained a diploma from the Japanese Tea Instructor Association. It's a highly specialized course, and to my knowledge, he is the only French person to have this diploma. He's basically like a wine taster. He has extensive knowledge of all the different tea terroirs, how to prepare tea, and the history of tea. And he's able to tell one quality of tea from another. As time goes on, the more we're discovering the richness of these terroirs, I think Florent is learning every day, but the knowledge he possesses is quite exceptional for a Westerner.
This tea room is trying to revamp the old-fashioned image of the tea ceremony and focus on what's important, taste, while preserving a very zen atmosphere.
The notion of terroir is very important in France, and we're trying to pass this on to the Japanese because they have tea terroirs, but they don't necessarily promote them. The fact that we're interested in their heritage has made them take a fresh look at it, realize how valuable it is, and try to promote it.
At the counter, they also serve quality teas in espresso cups, which people pop in to taste.
Tea was originally drunk for medicinal purposes, but that tradition has been lost, and the Japanese are starting to have health problems as a result of their lifestyles and more Western eating habits, so we are beginning to see a return to natural things here, too.
Florent Verg has just received a message from one of Shizuoka's most prestigious tea producers, Akoro Tsukiji. 2012 green tea harvest has begun at last. Florent Verg takes the Shinkansen, or bullet train, to Shizuoka, 200 kilometers south of the capital. In Onyama, he visits a small 5,000 square meter estate, Terao, which produces a superior sencha. It's the equivalent of one of the greatest Bordeaux wine houses. On this family-run estate, they use a very sophisticated trimmer equipped with a laser head. This ingenious device only cuts the tips of the buds and not the leaves. Some parts of the estate are put under artificial shade 3 weeks before harvesting to obtain more chlorophyll and less tannin. The crop is taken to a small factory a few kilometers away and processed the same day. Florent Verg carefully observes the manner in which the tea is processed. The main difference between Japanese green tea and Darjeeling, for example, is that it is not oxidized. To avoid oxidation, the tea is steam-dried. This means it preserves the characteristics of fresh leaves. Florent is going to visit another plantation higher up. The field is so steep that Mr. Tsukiji has installed a small cable car. It's important for Florent Verg to visit these places. He needs to absorb the atmosphere, get a feeling for the planter's work.
Knowing people by face and seeing not necessarily all the fields, but the area, completely changes your view of things. You see more than just the finished product in a bag.
Donc là, en tant que Jean, c'est vraiment l'un des plus.
This is the highest plantation in Japan. It's really unusual to plant tea this high up.
Akuro Tsukiji is responsible for selling the tea of dozens of estates as prestigious as his. If he has invited Florent Vergue, what's more on a weekend, it is because he too is eager to hear what our taster has to say.
I'm extremely flattered that foreigners are interested in our work, and I'm eager to have Florent Vergue's opinion.
Before tasting, Florent is joined by one of his Japanese colleagues, Kentaro Ishibe, who is also a great tea master.
In June, they cut the tea plant's branches all the way back and leave them on the ground. This nourishes the soil and therefore the tea plant.
From this sencha harvest, our two tasters seem to be on the same wavelength. With a crop of only 200 kilos picked by hand, this is an exceptional tea. Florent Vergue delivers his verdict with a typically Japanese restraint.
Every year is a bit different. This year, it seems we've got something good compared with the last 2 years.
As a tea master, Florent Vergue speaks in nuances. In plain speak, he basically means that this 2012 Onyama Sencha is quite simply excellent.
Yes, it's very, very good tea. It's got distinctive characteristics. The leaves are very, very big, and that's quite rare.
We now head to China, to the southwestern province of Yunnan. The airport of Kunming, the province's capital, gives you an idea of the speed at which China is changing, even in predominantly agricultural areas. Kunming is a major tea trading center. The wholesalers are all found in a district devoted exclusively to tea. This market has 300 stores. Gary Song works for the China Tea Corporation, a state-owned company, but his expertise means he often advises foreign customers. His wife owns a store that sells wholesale and retail. The best known and most famous teas are Pu-erh and Golden Needle. Here too, the tea professionals put the emphasis on superior quality teas. Pu-erh tea can be in a loose leaf form or compressed into cakes or bricks. It is a fermented tea and the only tea to improve with age, like wine.
Mostly some wholesale from other provinces, especially from Guangdong or Hong Kong, some the south of China, because south of China is a main market for the Pu-erh tea. So mostly the wholesaler will come to here to find the suitable good Pu-erh tea. And secondly is the local people who are, because in Yunnan, Yunnan is a traditional tea drinking place. So normally local people will like to buy the tea directly from these markets.
The conditions of which Pu-erh is aged are important. More often than not, intermediaries in Hong Kong usually take care of this.
The same tea storage in Hong Kong for 5 years, and the same tea storage in Kunming, such a dry place, for 5 years. The taste, the appearance, the flavor is completely different.
Gary knows all the stores where all sorts of teas are stocked.
Maybe something also interesting. This is a typical tea shops of and this gentleman is 他是多大了？73。 哇，其实啥那个？Already 73 years old.
These stores proudly display their oldest Pu-erh tea cakes. In the past 10 years, the popularity of old teas has soared. This has caused prices to rocket and attracted speculators. Some Pu-erh teas sell for tens of thousands of euros. But labels deteriorating with age and instances of fraud have temporarily calmed the market. This is Madame Mo's. Hers is one of the most flourishing businesses in Kunming, as her husband owns 10 factories of various sizes all over Yunnan and markets his own brand.
This tea tree, actually it's more than 3,200 years old. And the location is in Fengqing, Linchang, Yunnan province.
Madame Mo proudly shows us her personal stock of old Pu-erh that she's aging.
And this all the... Oh, that one is 1999. Produced in 1999. It's also very old.
We are now on our way to Changning, some 600 kilometers from Kunming. The landscape is similar to Darjeeling. The vegetation is very dense. It's July, the middle of the rainy season. Tea is picked all year round in Yunnan. This plantation produces tea destined for tea bags, with large rather than coarse leaves. Each family owns land where they grow tea, which they then take to the local factory. Some have to walk for several hours to get to the warehouses. Fenxing factory is working on ordinary teas at the moment. The process always starts with withering. Down here is the hidden face of the tea world. This tea is being shipped to Russia to be turned into tea bags. It's black tea, CTC black tea, which accounts for 70 to 80% of the world market. In China, even for specialists of exceptional tea, it's the basic tea bag that pays the bills. Down the road, this family-run factory is much smaller, but the principle is the same. Families walk for hours to sell their tea here. The tea is sorted here according to quality. As well as Pu-erh, the other renowned tea is Golden Needle, which is made only with the tips of the buds. Needless to say, it is produced in very small quantities, but it produces a unique aroma.
Here is a single bud, the most fresh tea bud. You can see that it's all this is a fresh, gentle, fresh tea bud, and they use it to produce the golden needle or golden tip, some very high grade tea, black tea or green tea.
This sort of tea is rolled with bamboo chopsticks to give it its needle shape. The production process is tightly controlled. We're in Changning now. Gary is greeted by the local party leaders. Here, everyone is crazy about tea. They have prepared some tea from a 2,000-year-old wild tea tree. It has a rich, subtle aroma. You won't find this kind of tea for sale anywhere.
So this tea is special?
Its tea is produced, it's a special wild tea tree and ages is more than 2,000 years old. Yeah, so to make the
taste is unbelievable, huh?
Yeah, very special comparing with the ordinary one. Yeah, and also it's kind of the wild tea tree can available. I mean, can used in Yunnan in Changning.
Although the tea is black, the liquid is bright yellow and has a surprisingly sweet taste.
The quantity per year just 200 kilos. That's all.
Out of price, I suppose.
Yeah, of course. It is more than 10,000, 50,000, I think.
Mr. Liu agrees to take us to one of the villages where these tea trees are found. It's a rare privilege. We head higher into the mountains past magnificent scenery. After a 30-minute drive, we are at more than 3,000 meters above sea level. It has stopped raining, but it is still very damp. These tea trees are an absolutely incredible size.
So you can see that around it's all of the tea tree and ages are more than over 1,000 years old. And some of them are maybe 2,000 years. I have no idea for that. But you can see the trunk of the tea tree and how tall it is. And but unfortunately, it's a pity that it was some of the in this area it should be more. But 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, the local people didn't realize the value of the tea tree. They cut it down as a wood, as burning something. But now they found that it is their treasure. So now they keep it and they feed it, care it very carefully.
With harvests of only a few kilos and a unique aroma, it's little wonder Golden Needle sells for an astronomical price.
Also, it's not their saying that it's 1,000 years. They invite the professional in China for the tea tree to come to here to check and use some machine to check the real ages. So it is that it is a certificate that it's more than 1,000 of years.
The local farmers used to use a lot of pesticide, but plots of organic tea are starting to appear, especially in these new growing areas.
I feel so glad, excited to see that because that's why here normally some people like to use pesticide to kill the pests, to kill the insects. But right now the people here, they realize the danger, how dangerous of the pesticide.
These new plots have been given to local families. They have yet to obtain organic certification, but they are on the right track. Due to the humid climate, there's lots of insects in the fields. Different types of traps are being tested. Mother and daughter spend whole days picking leaves, especially during this season, the best time of year. Mr. Liu takes Gary to another factory famous for its golden tips. This type of golden needle is made only with tips. In another part of the factory, tea is being made with tips and leaves. It's less prestigious, but can be produced in greater quantities. The visit continues with other old tea trees at Manshui.
Old people, they plant the tea and feed the tea and also pluck the tea here and they make tea. So the history of the tea here is more than 500 years old.
These trees have not been pruned for a very, very long time. Harvesting is complicated, even tough, because you have to climb right to the very top of the tree in order to pick the newest leaves. In Yiyu factory, impressive quantities of Pu-erh are waiting to be compressed into cakes. First, the tea is sorted by hand, one last time. Then it is steamed. The dry leaves are put in a metal container and placed over a 170-degree jet of steam for a few minutes. Next, they are put in a cotton bag which is inserted between the plates of a press and compressed into a cake. Once cool, the cake is removed from the bag, then dried and packed. Bricks, nests, cakes, compressions and shapes vary according to the quality of the tea. Tea was invented in China and, until 1850, the Chinese managed to protect the secret of its production, thus enjoying a thriving trade with the West. The recession and the British brought their supremacy to an end. It was only as recently as the late 80s that China became the world's leading tea producer again. In the old warehouses at Long Run, Pu-erh is still aged.
If we buy some teas from factories, of course, we will taste every lot of the teas. Even we know that the tea is good, but we also will test.
The presence of Mr. Mu, a former governor of the province and an avid tea drinker, means that once again we can watch Pu-erh cakes being made. But this time, according to a different method. The process is usually a closely guarded secret. In another room, for a more refined Pu-erh, most of the tasks are done by hand. Ingenious stone presses finish the job. After the controversy that shook the Pu-erh market in the mid-2000s, far more care is taken over the quality of the wrapping and the information relating to the date and place of manufacture. You can even buy individual portions wrapped like candies. Gary ends his visit to Changning with a tasting of Golden Tip in Mr. Tian's factory. These teas are made with buds only. Tea masters the world over do exactly the same thing when it comes to analyzing the tea put before them.
The aroma is so richful, and when you taste it in your mouth, you can feel so many aroma inside your mouth, and also the taste is sweet and smooth.
So it's a good, it's
Of course.
It's a top tea.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
To understand the popularity of Pu-erh, and the finest varieties in particular, you have to go to Hong Kong. In the few streets devoted to tea around Queen's Road, you find a mix of wholesalers' warehouses and modern stores. Old Pu-erh is on display, but for the rarest and therefore most expensive types, the golden rules are discretion and silence. In Hong Kong, the top-end tea trade is in the hands of a few tea masters. They are often colourful but passionate characters. Wing Chi Ip has opened a tea room where customers can choose from a list of great teas. They are prepared in front of customers according to the rule book, and information is given about their taste. A small store has original but affordable teas for sale. To find rare gems, you have to go to Master Wing Chi Ip. If you're really patient, you may get to see some unique items.
You better select by yourself. You are not the king.
Most of the tea, you have to consume it as soon as possible. Maybe 2 or 3 years you have to finish it. But for Pu-erh, longer you keep it, the better the quality. So that's why it becomes a collectibles. And you know, China become a very rich country now. People have a lot of cash. They want to speculate on everything, which they can keep. Yeah, so Pu-erh is one of the things. So they buy in some very old Pu-erh, some of them in Hong Kong, in the tea houses or in the collector's hand, maybe already 50 or 100 years old even, yeah.
It's impossible to find out more. In the private tea rooms at the back of these stores, very old Pu-erh is said to sell for 10,000, even 20,000 euros.
And Pu-erh, one thing is very strange. When you keep it for a long time, it becomes very mellow and very brown in color. And this process can be repeated artificially. If you keep it in a natural way, maybe you take 30 years to reach this kind of maturity. But if you keep it in a warmer or a more moisture environment, the fermentation becomes faster.
Because this tea is
I
particularly
always suggest my customer, if you like this tea, you buy it and drink it. It is not for speculation, for investment.
Pu-erh is enjoying renewed popularity in China because of its health benefits too, in particular for its positive effects on the digestive system. There are also customers with boundless admiration for influential masters. If this wasn't about tea, the mystical aspects of places like Yabo Fa Chang could be cause for concern. Elisa Liu, the first woman tea master, gives very popular classes all over the city. According to her, the spirit in which you drink tea is as important as the quality of the brew. She trained with Yip Wai Man, who has taken the art of tea to a whole new level. All the utensils he uses were designed to make the tea drinking experience as perfect as possible. His knowledge of great teas is evident, but it's the spiritual dimension he gives to his tastings that really leaves an impression on visitors.
There are 3 types of tea stores in Hong Kong. People like us who are interested in tea culture and open to visitors' questions. Others who are only interested in making money and shroud the whole thing in secrecy. And then the third type are simple growers' tea stalls.
Fine teas have never been so popular. The world's great chefs are using them in their cooking, and restaurants are now offering tea pairings for certain dishes.